I am going to clarify a few things about petrified wood. So I've got some samples here from Washington and Arizona, and I'm going to show you what petrified wood is and is not. So petrified wood is no longer wood. The wood has been replaced by minerals. It might look like wood, but it is stone, and it is hard as a stone. There's no cutting this with your saw. You have to use a special blade to cut this. And I will show you here, for example, this is Agatized. And you can see, if my camera will focus, you know, it's very glittery, covered with sparkles. This is from Mike Ames. Really lovely specimen, and I forgot where he got this. I'm thinking it was Arizona, but I'm not totally sure. But this is agatized. So let me turn the flashlight all the way up. You can see it is carnelian, basically. Red chalcedony. And the bark is not. Okay, and let me show you the difference between wood and petrified wood. Okay. See if we can get it to focus. Here we go. We're on macro now. All right, he cut this so that it would stand up. I'm going to take a knife. This is roughly a 5.5 on the hardness scale, and I'm going to do my very best to scratch this. Okay, clearly it didn't scratch. I didn't do that on camera. I made a line right here with silver. Now this part's rough, so I'm going to scratch that because you would be able to see the metal left behind from the knife. Okay. Now let me get my light so it's not going to give us an aneurysm. So that is metal on there. If it had scratched, you would see little bits. You'd see like a little powder on there. Sorry, didn't mean to move that. But that is metal left behind from the knife blade. So that shows you that it is harder than the knife blade, which is hardened steel, so it's roughly a 5.5 on the Mohs scale. So this is at least a 6, and I will tell you it's a 7. It's a 7 because it's chalcedony and because, you know, it ground away that knife. You can use this to sharpen your knife. So let's look at, this is another piece. This is from Washington, in the southern portion of the state. It's agatized. So let's maybe turn it around. Turn it this way. See. There. You can really see how agatized it is. Okay, now there's a nice smooth side here that if I make a line on it, you should be able to see. I'm going to try to scratch it. Now when you scratch, you press as hard as you can. myself. It's actually a very dull blade, pathetically dull. You can kind of see, oops, sorry. You can kind of see a slight metallic line that I left behind. Right there, you can kind of see that. You know, it's harder than the knife. So yeah, and here, let's make it so you can see the wood grain. There, you can kind of see wood grain there. Right? That was a branch. Okay, what about this one? All right. Make my flashlight aneurysm bright. As you can see, it is agatized. Right through there. Okay, this one, because it's skinny, it has a really nice sound to it. Oh. Okay. Chipping it up by banging it on another rock. Okay, so I already did this right here. My first video attempt, so we'll do one right next to it. Okay. There we go. Now, I got two lines of metal right next to each other, messing up my beautiful specimen. But this is the sacrifice we make for science. You know, this is to illustrate the difference between wood that has, you know, undergone some trauma and actual petrified wood. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in 6 months. This is stone. That's, you know, and here, it's quartz. Okay, quartz. This is a specimen from Arizona, given to me by a native. And it's covered with quartz crystals. And then I've got two other Arizona ones here. This is from Richard Bokoltz's property in Arizona. And it's covered with Druzy. And this is another one of his pieces from Arizona, covered with quartz crystals. And you can see he's cut it. And you cannot cut this with a saw. I mean, you know, you have to use a special blade. You can see that it's harder than a knife. So, sorry about the dishwasher. This is a piece I haven't cleaned yet. This is from Southwest Washington. It's got manganese all over it. But, you know, that just shows you kind of a variety of what they look like. And it's not about what they look like, right? What they look like just shows you that it is wood. It's about the hardness and what the material is now. It's no longer wood. And that doesn't happen in 6 months. That takes millions of years. So, here we go.